Today we are going to learn how to multiply decimals. But first I want to talk to you about a rational number. We are moving into rational numbers, and a rational number is a number that can be written as a decimal. So decimals are what we call rational numbers. Our step one is to estimate first. So when we first get started on this, we're going to estimate to see how it works, the multiplication works. And then we will set up a problem by lining up the numbers on the right with the longer number on top. Step 3 is to count how many digits are behind or to the right of the decimal in the number in the problem, and write this number out to the side of the problem and circle it. You'll come back to it later. 4, solve the multiplication problem ignoring the decimals and multiplying as usual. That's the big thing right there. When we multiply decimals, we ignore the decimals in the problem. Step 5 is, now that you've found the answer, you will put the decimal back in the problem so that the answer has the same number of digits behind the decimal as in the problem, the number you circled in step 3. So that was a lot of information, but we're going to put it into practice. And when you have to do these on your own, these are steps to go by on your own when solving after you've learned it. So we said that step 1 was to estimate first. Here it says to remember, if you are multiplying by a number that is less than 1 whole, your answer will get smaller. So this is just, you know how you have to check, does your answer make sense? This is just to let you know that when you multiply by a number less than 1 whole, your answer does indeed get smaller. Okay, step 1 said to estimate first. We're not going to do this every time, but we're going to do it this first time just to see. So estimate is, we're going to round to the nearest tenth on this problem. So here we have 12.1. That rounds to 12. And 40, well, it's at 40, so that is good right there. So then you multiply. Multiplying like normal. So 0 times 2 is 0, 0 times 1 is 0. Add your 0 for your place value. So that is to hold your place value. 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 1 is 4. This giving you 480. So we estimate first to see if our answer makes sense. So work for your answer. This is where we're going to set up the problem. Here we have 12.1 times 40. Now it says to line up the numbers. We're going to line up the numbers to the right of the problem. So you always want to put the number with the most digits up top. Not the biggest number, the number with the most digits. Then step 3 says count how many numbers are to the right of the decimal or behind the decimal. This right here is the only number to the right of the decimal, so we have 1. So we put a 1 to the side and we circle it. Now we multiply like normal. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Add your 0 in the second row to hold your place value. 4 times 1 is 4. Ignore that decimal. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times 1 is 4. Now we add like normal. 0, 4, 8, 4. Step 5 says to put our decimal back into the problem. So here we circled a 1. So we're going to start to the back of our answer, and we are going to move our decimal over to the left 1 time, putting our answer back into our decimal back into the answer, giving us 484. So if you look, our final answer looks very close to our estimated, so the chances are our answer is correct. Okay, our second problem is 2 hundredths multiplied by 1 and 36 hundredths. Now remember that any number being multiplied by a number less than 1 is going to end up a smaller number. So our first step said to estimate. We're not going to estimate on this one. That is a tool for you. You don't know where to go. You're unsure if your answer makes sense. Estimate to see if it makes sense. So we're going to go straight into this one. Remember, the number with the most digits goes on top. So that's 1 36 hundredths multiplied by 2 hundredths. Okay, so third step is to count how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to write a 4 out to the side and use it later, because now I can multiply my digits without even worrying about the decimal. So 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 times 1 is 2. Add your 0 to hold your place value. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Add them up, and you get 272. There are 4, so we go back to this right here. 4 numbers to the right of the decimal. So remember, I put a decimal at the back of my answer and move it to the left 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a hole right here, so we add a 0. So our final answer is 0.0272. And that is our final answer for number 2. Number 3 says Lynn bought a new house and her living room is 9 7/10 feet by 4 2/10 feet. What is the area of her living room? So the area is multiplying this side by this side, and it will give you all of this space that it covers. Okay, so I want you to try to set this problem up. So press pause, and when you think you've got it, we already said what the problem was. So it's 9.7 times 4.2. So try to set it up before we multiply it, and press play when you are finished. So because both of these numbers have 2 digits, it does not matter what's on top. So remember, our third step is to count how many numbers are to the right of the decimal. We have 1 on top and 1 on bottom, so that's a total of 2. Put 2 to the side and circle it, and we'll use it at the end of this problem. Now please solve this problem, and once you've finished it, press play, and we'll put the decimal back in together. Okay, so you should have gotten 4074. We have 2 numbers to the right of the decimal, so remember we put the decimal at the back of the problem and move it to the left 2 times. 1, 2, giving us a total area of 40 74 hundredths feet. An area is squared. So that is our final answer. Moving on, a picture frame costs $2.55. A party planner wants to buy 59 picture frames for an upcoming event. How much will they cost? So if each one costs $2.55, then and we buy 59 of them, that means we're going to multiply 59 times $2.55. So I would like you to actually work this problem out, set it up, work it out, put the decimal back in. When you think you have your answer, press play, and we will check it. Okay, so you should have gotten $150.45. Remember to put that 2 out to the side. When we multiply like normal after that, then we put the decimal back into the problem, moving it over 2 times to the left. Now remember, you don't put the biggest number on top. So if some of you put 59 on top, that's the biggest number, but it has the least amount of digits. You want to put the number that has the most amount of digits on top. If you did not get this right, press pause and check my work and find your mistakes so we can correct that. Moving along, I've lost count, but this problem has a cat can jump 5 times as high as it is tall. How high could a cat jump if it is 16 4/10 centimeters tall? So our problem is 5 times that length. Well, that length is 16 4/10. So we're going to multiply that times 5. So that means the number with the most digits goes on top. That should be a 4. Multiplied by a 5. I have 1 number to the right of the digit. I would like you to finish solving this and solve the next one with Greg on your own. We will check these tomorrow with your table groups. Once you have finished this problem, then you will write any questions you still have or a problem for your table group to solve tomorrow.